Hey everyone, this is Lisa from TRW, and in this video we are going to be preparing for the summer and the 4th of July and America and fireworks and all of that. So we are going to be creating this giant USA rhinestone design on this star tank top. So we're going to be doing this cutting our magic flock material and our rhinestones. So if you want to learn how to make this shirt, just keep on watching. So I have opened Silhouette Studio. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to set up this font to cut in Silhouette Studio. Now, if you're using TRW Design Wizard, you are way ahead of the game. You'll just type out your text, click the resize design, and you're all set to go. But for those of us who don't have it, I'm going to set it up. So let's go over here and I'm going to type out USA and I'm going to do lowercase. Now, because I am using a 2-color font, then what I'm doing is I need to type one case uppercase and one case lowercase and then kind of join them together. So let's go ahead, type out USA and go to our fonts. So I am using TRW 5016 2-color collegiate TTF. So right here we have RF at the end, and then we have one that has SF at the end, and we can see it right there. For this case, I will be using the one that says SF at the end because that represents the boxes around it. I'm going to be setting them up with boxes because then I don't have a huge chunk that says USA. I can bring this in and type out the rest of the letters and have a full alphabet if I want. So now what we need to do is we need to resize our rhinestone design. If I were to cut this right now, these holes are going to be way too small and my rhinestones will not fit in there. So let me open up our website and I am going to go over to support, resources, and right here we have our rhinestone TTF sizing guide. So let's go ahead and look up TRW 5016. And sometimes it won't show up, so we're going to go over and search it on our search bar. So we have 5016 and here's our 2-color collegiate. So whenever you buy a rhinestone true type font, you can use the search and you can also check down here and this will tell you your font point size. So for it to be SS10 stones, I am going to set my design to 243 point size. So I have my design, my font selected. Let's go right here to my textile window and change it to 243, hit enter, and now it is resized. So you can see my design's pretty large, okay? It's a pretty big design, but I want a big design for my shirt. So let's go through. I'm going to fill this in red so you can see it. So this is the inside of my letters. You'll see that I do have boxes there, but the lines are overlapping. So I'm going to change my character spacing a little bit to 110. And now you can see we have a little space there. So now what I need to do is I need to set up the outside of my letters. So my way of doing that is I want to make a quick duplicate of my font. So I want to be able to take my font, take the exact font, the exact size, and be able to just retype it. So I'm going to hover my mouse over my text, and you'll notice that my mouse or my cursor has changed to a plus sign. So this allows me to make a quick duplicate. So I'm going to press down Alt, click and drag, and now I have that plus sign. So now I have exact copy of my USA, so I can double click. Now I'm in text edit mode, so that green box around it represents text edit mode. I'm going to go over, highlight this, and type this in capital USA, and check it out. So now I have my text, and I can kind of change that color so you can see the difference. So here's the inside, and here's the outside. So now all I have to do is set it up to cut. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off of my roll of magic flock. So let's go ahead and set my height. I'm just going to put 20 just to be safe. I'm going to make sure I have no cutting mat selected. And then I'm going to click on my text, click on this little green dot to rotate it that way. And now I'm all set to cut. So I'm going to cut all of my templates, get them all ready, and then we will go over to our brushing station and brush in our rhinestones. So I am ready to brush in my rhinestones. So these are my 3 letters. I cut this out in our Magic Flock template material, and I used our font to cut this out. So this font is the SF version. So what that means is each letter has a box around it. So I type the letters with boxes. That way I can reuse the template. It doesn't have to be a gigantic USA later on. So we have that there. You can check out the description below. I will link the font for you so you can get the font to purchase as well. Now keep in mind this font is really, really big. This is, I think, a little over 7 inches tall. So the difficulty that I am going to have with this is that this is actually going to be a pretty wide design. Typically for shirts, you don't want to make a design as wide as this. But you know what? It's my America shirt. So I just want a big, obnoxious design. You may see different color stones in here. I accidentally mixed mine a while back. So I just, as I see them, pick out my little crystal stones in here. So, you know, I have slightly patriotic rhinestones. If I keep mixing them, then maybe I'll just have a whole batch of red, white, and blue stones. So you have that all set. And I'm just brushing in my stones. So the trick with working with rhinestones is you want to do a lot of stones on top. You want to do gentle circles because the rhinestones flip out if they're upside down. But what they do is they roll off of each other. So I'm just quickly going through and kind of preliminary brushing in my stones. And then I'm going to go back, bring little piles on top of where there are stones missing, and then kind of go from there. So you can see I have a couple little fun stragglers of different colors. No big deal. I'm just going to pick out these other colors and kind of slowly clean them out as I go and figure it out from there. So I'm going to finish up this one. All I'm going to do is just going to take little piles. Let me go ahead and get my little brush and show you what I'm going to do. So you can see I'm missing stones here. Grab a pile, gentle circles, brush them in, and then I'm all set to go. So kind of go from there and kind of see like that. So I'm going to finish this up. This part may take a little bit, but this is only because this is a gigantic design. So I'm going to finish this up and we'll be ready for our tape and then the second color of rhinestones for this. So this is all brushed in. I'm all set to go. Now I'm going to kind of move these out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the tape down on my design and then clean up my rhinestones. So this design is a 2-color design. So we're going to have this inside part red, and then I'm going to do a crystal outline. I like doing that because I think, I don't know, having a border around your text looks really nice, but also because I am pressing to something with the pattern underneath, you kind of want that definition of the color. So I have my hot fix tape here, and I'm going to cut a piece that's longer than my letters here. And that is how I'm going to line up my design. I need a hinge basically to keep everything steady. And then the second color of my text is actually going to have the same size box around these letters. So that's how we're going to line them up. So I'm just kind of brushing my stones in a little bit closer so that I don't have to worry about touching them with my tape. And we're going to go over. I'm going to peel up this tape real quick. And I'm moving it to the side so you can't see it as much. And that's just because I don't want to bump my rhinestones in the template because I'm really clumsy. So what I like to do when I'm layering my colors is I'm going to line up one side of my design, the tape really close to the design, because I want to ensure that the rest of my tape has a lot of extra space on the side. So let's go ahead and smooth this down. And as you're putting your tape down, do it quickly. Do not second guess yourself. A lot of people are like, I can never get my tape as smooth as you. You know, I try so hard. Well, maybe honestly, don't try so hard. Just like slap your tape down, go quickly, and it won't be that big of a deal. So let's go through, and I'm smoothing down these corners because I'm going to start brushing up my stones. So I don't want too many stones to get underneath my tape. You can see it's a huge mess right here. So I'm going to use my hands, my fingernails, and kind of scrape at it. You know, like poke the rhinestones out. So we're just kind of smoothing it from there and poking out the rhinestones. Come on, little buddy. Let me start over. Okay, so I have all of this smooth. I'm going to kind of shake my chalkboard. It's a little trick I like to do. Kind of brings everything out from the edges. In my opinion, it makes it a lot easier. Total preference though. Alright, so we're going from here. You can see I got a little caught under here, no big deal. Let me just poke those out and let's re-smooth that. And of course, if you want, you can always brush your rhinestones, clean them out before you put the tape down. The order is not important. what's important is you just clean up your rhinestones, okay? So let's go right here. I have my magic scoop. It has a hollow spout in there, which is really great because it makes it super easy to clean up my rhinestones. And I can put it right back in whatever container I'm storing it in. So let's go from there. I'm gonna kind of stick that. And then I'm gonna do one more kind of shake right here. Try to get the last bits of these rhinestones. Let's go right here. Let's get these guys. And again, for a typical day-to-day rhinestone design, the cleaning up part probably won't take as long. I like to make things difficult on myself, and I am doing a gigantic design. So of course, the bigger the design, the more stones you have to clean up, but hey, it's also super awesome. So let's go ahead, get that. So now all my rhinestones are cleaned up. I like to keep this in a mason jar. I don't keep all my rhinestone colors in a mason jar, just the ones that I use a lot of, because I want to just be able to put a bigger quantity in them. So I have my scoop, I'm all set. So let's go ahead and close this up. I do not want to worry about making a mess with this. All right, so we have our rhinestones down, and we have our little anchor right here, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna peel this up, peel up my tape, and if rhinestones don't come up, that's not a big deal. Just put your tape right back down, smooth where that rhinestone is, and you're all good. So this one didn't come up, no big deal. And then we have a few more. Let's smooth that. And in case you're wondering, I am using a chalkboard. Whenever you're working with rhinestones, you don't need anything fancy. All you really need is a flat surface. I like this chalkboard because it has these edges. It kind of keeps my rhinestones contained, and it was really cheap. It was $7, $7.99 at Hobby Lobby, and I used a 40% off coupon. So let's go right here. So these boxes, because this is a 2-color font, they line up with each other. So you can see that I just stacked my box right on top, and I don't see any black marks underneath it. If I saw black for the chalkboard underneath it, that means I have it stacked right on top of an area where I have stones already exposed. So that means I'd have overlapping stones, and that is not what I want. It's not good. So we're just gonna set it up like that. Let me go over here. Let's do our second letter. And then here's our last one, the U. So you can see that the boxes fit right on top. That's the cool thing about doing 2-color rhinestone designs, is that we have our templates set up so they kind of stack right on top of each other. And then you have pretty much, foolproof layering. So now we're gonna do a crystal outline. These are all SS10 rhinestones, so these are 3mm rhinestones. Those are gonna be your most common size. It's gonna come in the most colors. Like, not even 9 times out of 10, like 99 out of 100 times, these are the size rhinestones you're going to use when working with them. And I think they're a good size anyway. So you don't want them too little because they're just such a pain. And you don't want them too big because, you don't get as much detail with the big stones. All right, so we're doing gentle circles. All right, so now we have that set. I have one little spot missing here. Let's go ahead, bring a little pile, bring that over. And then once you have the majority of your stones set, you can bring your brush flat and kind of go to the side. So we're gonna go from there. So I have a couple missing. I'm gonna come back for those. I just wanna kind of clear this out first. And get that out of here. So this is the monster brush. This is our bigger rhinestone brush right here that I'm using. It's great for big sections, and then I like using the red brush to kind of get better control over these smaller sections where stones have to brush in. So like if I'm doing a pocket design or a really small rhinestone design, I almost always go for the red brush. I think it's just easier to control in that situation. If you're starting off with a big design like this, then of course the monster brush is going to be a better option, strictly for the fact that it's going to cover a larger area. So we're just bringing little piles, and then I just need to get up to this middle part of the A. right, so I'm all set there. Let's go ahead and get these extras. I have one more. There we go. So when you're doing this, just make sure you're using a light touch. You do not want to do, you don't want a super heavy hand, because I mean, these rhinestones aren't, you know, cemented in here. You can knock them out of these holes if you really try. So, you know, within reason. All right, so let's get these to the side. I don't want to get my tape on here again. All right. So now these boxes were in the same place. So that means they're kind of anchored, and then the tape was anchored on the side here. So I'm going to pull my tape as far without pulling it off as I can to keep it nice and tight. And then actually, while I'm over here, I want to bring these closer too. It looks like I might touch some of these as well. And again, if you're working with a smaller design, this is a huge design. If you're working with a different one, you know, you're not going to have your stones as close. So the brushing it over that I'm doing will not affect you. I made it worse. Oh well, let's just get that out of here. And if we get more stones on here, we can kind of like scrape them off too. So let's go right here, like poke this little stone out. Cool, so let's just smooth this down because I'm going to clean up my stones next. So smooth these edges so stones don't get underneath as we're cleaning. Let's smooth our tape down on our rhinestones. All right, now let's go right here. All right, so I have my little pile ready. Let's go ahead and clean these up, get this mess out of here. And one tip, because I have done this, sometimes I get ahead of myself when I'm cleaning up my colors and I kind of just scoop them up and put my scoop to the side. Make sure you actually dump your scoop into the proper color, because I full on dumped the wrong color into a different container because I did that. I got ahead of myself and then I forgot. All right, so let's go ahead and move this to the side. So our 2-color design is all set. Let's go ahead and lift up our hot fix tape. Again, if stones do not come up, not a big deal. Just drop your tape back down, smooth it where that stone is, and continue. You have these two. And that's not uncommon when you're layering 2 colors. It's just a thing. It's not a big deal. All right, so let's go ahead and take this. And now I'm going to take my tape that I had and just drop it right back on until I'm ready to press. So let's go ahead and smooth this down. And then this backing, I actually like to keep to store my templates on too. So let me go ahead and I'm going to trim this closer so I can reuse that hot fix tape later. All right, so I'm going to go set up my heat press and then we're going to get ready to press this design. So I am here at the heat press, ready to press. So first of all, I have my star tank top. This is from Alternative Apparel. I ordered it online. It's perfect for the summer. Now, there's a couple things that I need to take into account here and a couple changes I'm going to make. So as you can see, this design is gigantic. So it goes almost to the seams here. Now, that seems like it's not a big deal, but keep in mind that these seams are actually like the center of your body, so it kind of wraps around you. So I'm going to make a little bit of an adjustment. Now, I like this design and I want it to be big. So I know that it's going to go a little bit wider than the average shirt design. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim my tape closer and I'm going to separate my letters so that I can kind of nudge my letters just a little bit closer together to kind of offset the design. So let's move this to the side and I'm going to go over and I'm going to line up my S. So I'm using my collar here. I'm kind of going in between the collar. These racer backs are kind of tricky because this seam in particular is not like super straight. They have that like raw unfinished thing which makes seams hard. But I'm going to kind of set this one up in the middle. All right, so let's go ahead and take this off the paper backing. And then kind of line that up with about the middle of where that is going to be. And so something like this, you can see the stars behind the USA. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to have an outline around my design, because I want to define these letters really well. And so with that, the outline kind of does that. All right, something like this, we have to be careful because I'm gonna set up my USA like this, USA, like that. However, check this out. I have some rhinestones that are sitting on top of this hot fix tape. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim off this hot fix tape that is underneath where this A is. So this is something, if you don't want to be in front of a hot heat press for this, you can definitely do this on a workstation and then bring your design over. But hey, I like to live life on the edge, right? So I just have a little section over here I need to trim down. Okay, so we got that. Let's take this little thingy out. All right, so those are not overlapping. We're good there. All right, so there's the A of our design, so I got it a little bit closer. And now that I look at it, I think it's a little bit too low. So let me go over, peel up my letter. So we have that, and now let's do our last letter, which is our U. So let's set that up. Let's line up our U. Checking out my bottom letter here. Oop, and it's like super overlapping up top here. So I was looking at this section, but I forgot to check up here. So just keep that in mind. And then I just need to basically trim this down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually trim off the carrier underneath there. Let me just check my letters. I just want them to look really nice. And actually, I know I was just doing this, but I'm just going to press these separately. So let me go over here, bring this over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pressing pillow in my shirt. So the reason why I'm using a pressing pillow is because my shirt is really, really thin. Now, especially with ladies' shirts, you can kind of get glue through the shirt, which is not a big deal. You kind of just separate the shirt to keep it from gluing shut. But I don't want to have to separate this, so I'm just going to put this letter down. Let's do a quick press. My press is at 335 degrees. Just making sure I have nice, firm pressure. So let's go ahead and press this for a few seconds. I'm going to peel up my hot fix tape. So just be careful. If your stones are coming out with the hot fix tape, just drop it right back down and go from there. So check this out. I dropped this on the floor and all the stones are perfect. So that's a good testament to how strong the hot fix tape is, that clumsy old me can drop it and still be good. And so again, with something like this, you kind of just want to figure out the best way to press it and make it work for you. So you can you notice that I went through a couple different game plans and then landed on this. That's totally fine. You know, like we learn and we grow and we find whichever way is easiest for us. So I'm just tugging my pillow to make sure I have that pressure underneath my rhinestones. And I'm just readjusting my rhinestones to make sure that it's lining up well. And then let's go ahead, and I'm just being picky, but let me just readjust that. All right, so let's go ahead and press a few seconds. All right, so we have our USA. And then let's go ahead and move our pillow over and start placing rhinestones over here. And then when we're done, I'm just going to go ahead and press the entire design for a few more seconds, just so that it can get the full amount of time of heat that it needs onto here. So we're looking right here. Let's go ahead and bring this down. I'm just nudging it over to make it look nice. All right, so let's do a couple more seconds. right, so let's lift that up. Okay, so now we have our rhinestones there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my pressing pillow to make sure all of my rhinestones have enough pressure that it's lifting up my stones. So let's go ahead and bring that over. Kind of take that out. All right, so my whole design is on top of the pressing pillow, so that's good. That means I'm going to get good pressure. And I'm just going to take my cover sheet and let's go ahead and press this for another 10 seconds, like an insurance press, just to get it to stay. All right, so my press is done. Let's remove my cover sheet. I'm going to kind of lift this so the glue will kind of stick to my pillow. So that's why I did a pillow there. That way I didn't have to worry about getting to the other side of my shirt, and it keeps that glue from going through. All right, so we have that set. Let's move my pillow out of the way. And now there you have it. We have our giant mega rhinestone USA. Perfect for the summer and the 4th of July. So there we have it. This is our Mega Rhinestone USA shirt on our fun star printed shirt. Now, I really love this design. My favorite part is that you can see the stars through the red. I think it's really cool. Comment below, all right? We will pick out our winner next week, and you will be all set to get ready to make so many fun patriotic designs for the summer.